And we are live. We are live. We are Sunday, June 2nd, and at 3:26 p.m. Eastern Time. So today we are going to take a look at Tesla stock. This is one of the most interesting company, I would think. There are other interesting companies, but Tesla is quite interesting, mainly because of Elon Musk. And we are going to take a look at that stock from a technical analysis perspective. So we are not going to base our analysis too much on the news because nobody knows how news is being interpreted. We are looking at the end impact of any news that happens with Tesla, which is the stock price. This is the end impact. This is the consequence of all the news, good or bad. Sometimes they are good, sometimes they are bad. So how can you know what is going to be the impact on Tesla stock? If you have one good news and one bad news, how can you predict, well, okay, the stock will go up by $5? It's impossible to know how people will interpret this. And also, it's impossible to know all of the intentions of the institutions that might decide to go all in into Tesla because they might have their strategies. So instead of doing the speculation, we are going to look at the end result. Look at the tug of war between buyers and sellers. Tug of war between the buyers and sellers. And it's great because we have access to that information, and it's called the stock price, the stock chart price, the price chart, whatever you want to call it. This is public information. We see all of the trades, or basically trades that are happening per time frame. So this is a daily chart that I'm looking at, but I can go onto the 5-minute chart and I can see the price people are paying for that time frame. So in 5 minutes, so let's take this candle right here. In 5 minutes, the price went from an opening at the bottom right here at 176.59 and went as high as 177.94, and it closed at 177.85. So we see exactly, well, this is basically the pulse. This is basically the pulse of that stock price of that stock. This is the pulse of the stock. We see exactly what the price movement are. And also, we can find patterns. That it's pretty easy actually to find patterns in those stock prices. And this is helping us because if a stock is into a pattern, it tends to continue within that pattern until it does not. And when it does not, this is an event that we can use to decide, well, we should be doing something else. We should be maybe buying or maybe selling because the actual because the actual pattern has been broken. And when there is well, we can use a continuation into a pattern, or we can use the information that a pattern has been broken. So this is what we do on this channel. So this live right here, I do a live every Sunday. This live right here is open to the public usually. And I have a bit of a cough, so it's going to be hard for me to talk today. So I'm going to mute myself, and then this is what I'm doing. Where was I? So doing this, looking at the patterns and everything, help us get out of Tesla when Tesla goes down, because we don't think that there is much point in holding a stock that is going down in the hope that it is going to go back up again. We never know. And nevertheless, even if it goes up at a certain point later in time, we have some opportunity cost. Our money was tied into something that was going down, and it could not go into something that was going up. Well, we cannot know in advance. Well, we don't need to know in advance. We need to know right now, is it going down? Is the trend going down? If a stock is making lower highs, This is a high. This is a high. This is a high. If it's making lower highs, it means that people through time are willing to pay less and less for Tesla stock. So why should we be holding that asset that is depreciating? And we have the exact slope of depreciation. Here the high was at 300 bucks in July, and that high was at 270 in October. So from July to October, August, September, October. So it went from 300 bucks to 270. So Tesla was losing 10 bucks a month. This is the average loss. This is the average loss, 10 bucks a month. Yes, it's going up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's going down. You see it? It's going down. If it's going down, it's depreciating. So if you have an asset that is depreciating, and you are keeping it, you must love that asset for the asset's purpose. Like, you can own a car that's depreciating, but you might use that car to run errands, so you still keep the car. But if you have a stock that is depreciating, why hold the stock? Just because you want to say, well, I am a Tesla investor. Well, you can say that with only while you own only one single stock. So keep one single stock, sell all the rest, and wait until the stock stops depreciating. It's easy as that. It's easy as that. And Tesla has been depreciating a lot. This is a bearish channel. I'm introducing some vocabulary right here. So this is a channel, a depreciating channel, a bearish channel. And we have been going down since July of last year. So since July of last year, if you own Tesla, on average from this date to this date, you have lost money. Congratulations, you have lost money. Well, I don't mean to be mean, but this is a fact. This is a fact. And if we pull back a little bit further down, look at this high of November 2021. This is another depreciating channel. So Tesla has been going down since November. As a whole, on average, it's been going down. So am I going to tell you to buy Tesla today? No. I won't suggest that you buy Tesla because we are still into several downward channels. But we are going to do a more detailed analysis because sometimes, into this big bearish channels, we got some buying opportunities. Very small one right here. So right now, what we are going to do, what we are doing on this channel is that we are looking at a bunch of stocks every single day using these principles. And let me fix my mic. Thank you for telling me. It might just be my voice too. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I have so many USB C. This should be a lot better. Yes, I just plugged the wrong wire, so I was using the mic from my camera instead of this beast. So yeah, thank you, Alan, and hello to the Baxan, BCG, and Tesla Terra. Hello to all of you guys. So yes, even when we are into a big downward channel, we can still find some buying opportunities, small buying opportunities, small, buying at 108 until 200 bucks. So this one was not that small. It was a 2x right here. From 194, 174 to 270. So this one was nice also. So we can still find some buying opportunities. So what I will do is that we will look at all of that. Look at all of that from the investor perspective, the person that wants to hold Tesla for a long time. Some of them we cannot do much for them because they are just going to buy and hold until 2030, and hopefully in 2030 they are going to make a lot of money. This is a strategy that works. This is not a strategy that I like because, as I said, because Tesla went from November from a high of 400 bucks in November 2021 down to a value of what is it right now, 180. So for 2 years their money was just there, and at some point, because Tesla stock was worth 400 bucks here in November 2021, and in January of 2023 it was worth 100 bucks. So people that had Tesla stock and held it through this lost in net worth three quarters of what they had. Unfortunately, it came up a little bit, but now it's coming back down again. So this is not an optimal way of doing things, in my opinion. You can still make money by, if you bought Tesla, in 2020 at 30 bucks, and you are still holding it, it's still money in your pocket in terms of worth. But as I said, it's not optimal, because you could have sold maybe at 300 bucks and let it go down a bit. So this is what we're trying to do. So yeah. So welcome to this channel if you are here for the first time. So let's just jump in and see where we are at. So Tesla right now is at 178.08, and we had this downward channel that we were in. We had another one that we were in, but we are not. So we are still inside this bearish channel right here. So the line that we are really looking at is this one right here. This one right here. This is a very important line, and we see that the stock price is climbing. It was at 138 in April, and now it's coming up. It's coming up, and now basically it's going sideways. So the Tesla stock is going sideways in a tight range. It has been into a tight range since last week, between approximately 172 and 180. So when a stock is into a tight range, it usually indicates that something is going to happen, because people are waiting for something. They are waiting for something, and they don't tend to let the stock price fluctuate that much. When the stock price fluctuates, goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, then it is usually because there are big news and lots of things happening. But right now, things are pretty at a standstill, and people don't know where the stock price is going to go. And I don't know either. And nobody knows. Nobody knows what is going to happen on Monday, what is going to happen to the stock price next week. Nobody knows. But we don't need to know in advance. We just need to see where the pattern is going to break. And as I said, this is the pattern right here. The pattern is that each time we go close to that line, we go down. Go close, go down. Go close, go down. Yes, we had an exception here. I'm going to give you that. When close, came down. When close, well, did go down a little bit. Maybe it's not finished, and maybe it's finished. Because at some point, if we stop going down, then this is going to mean that as a whole, Tesla, the market, the stock market, the market for Tesla stock has changed. Because where people were considering Tesla a depreciating asset over 1 year, $10 a month of loss rate. If we start breaking this downward resistance right here, it's going to mean that, oh, it's no longer going down at that rate. So as a whole, the market, so everybody that buys and sells Tesla are willing to pay higher, and the sellers are less willing to sell at a lower price. So this is an indication that something has changed in the market, and this is what we are deciphering by having the stock price break those lines. We are looking at those changes in people's mind about Tesla. And it's based on rumors, it's based on facts, it's based on a bunch of things. And we know that many things are coming for Tesla. We have the investor presentation that is going to happen. I think this is happening in June. I don't have the exact date. August announcement. So there's some AI stuff also. There is going to be an announcement about AI, and there is going to be the investor presentation, the yearly investor presentation, and depending on what Elon is going to say there. So thank you, Da Funk. Well, what we are going to hear at those events may impact how people perceive Tesla stock. And if those events do impact the perception, we are going to see it here. So this is not predicting the future. This is showing us is there a different interpretation, a different philosophy that people have about Tesla? And maybe Elon is going to say something about the Optimus robot for self-driving, robo-taxi. So I think we are going to have an interesting summer for Tesla stock. Yes, the pay package, also the pay package of Tesla. That's a good point. The pay package. So if the pay package is approved and Tesla and Elon gets a lot of money, this is going to help people's appreciation of the stock price, because they are going to say, well, he won't run off and create his own Optimus robot elsewhere, because Elon has said that. Well, if I'm not paid, if I don't if I don't receive commensurate revenues on Optimus, then I might just be doing Optimus as a side company by myself and not do it within Tesla. So a lot of things are going to happen. Yeah, June 13. Well, thank you. June 13, if it does not get approved. So we don't know what is going to happen. And I think that this uncertainty is being shown right here, where people don't know what to do. Well, I don't know if I should buy, I don't know if I should sell, and there's a little bit of an uncertainty. So when there are big events like this that are coming in the future, we cannot really predict how things are going to turn out, because These are major events that are going to change what is going to happen. But sometimes some 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 big news is announced, and then there's no effect in the stock. And sometimes and sometimes there's a big effect in the stock, and sometimes it's not in the right direction. So instead of trying to figure out which direction is going to be the significant effect or not, we just look at our lines, and then we see that if we break a pattern, then this is going to yeah, this is going to change or not. So right now, the key points, the key points, the key lines, the key lines that we are looking at are the following. Decreasing resistance right here. This is very key because this line has been in effect for one full year, almost 1 year. This line has been respected for 1 year. If it's not respected anymore, that I would say is a significant event. Then, if it is not respected and crossed like this, then what does that tell us? This is telling us that this would be telling us that we are no longer going down, but we could be going sideways. So we have some resistance right here at 194.36. You see, sometimes we cross it, does not last, and sometimes we cross it for a day or within the day, it does not last. So this is another important thing that we need to look at. 194.35. So that's the most important number, because if we break this downward resistance right here, we could just be going sideways for 6 months. So buying a stock, so buying Tesla after it breaks maybe at 188, and then it fluctuates between 194 and 180, well then that's not good use, that's not a very good use of our money. So this is why I say that the really important number we need to look at is 194.35. If we break this and break that, then okay, then we are into another realm. We are no longer going down at this pace right here. We are no longer stuck going sideways. So if we are not going down and we are not going sideways, where are we going but up? So we are going up. So these are the ways we think on this channel, and we also like to have an indicator that we call stochastic. I pronounce it stochastic, but in English you put an emphasis on stochastic. You put an emphasis on the second syllable. And if I don't put that emphasis, it sounds like a completely different word, even though I say exactly the same syllables. Stochastic. So I use a 21-day stochastic, see? Stochastic. A 21-day, and this is the style, so you can pause the video. This is being recorded, so you can watch this later and pause the video and use this. And then we use stochastic also to give us an additional level of confidence that we could be going up. So we breaking a downward resistance, a diagonal downward resistance, breaking a horizontal resistance, and having stochastic over 60, this is telling us that yeah, we should be going up. Does not work all the time. Does not work all the time, but it works most of the time. Most of the time. And if you look at any move up in any stock, I'm going to pick one. I'm not looking. Any stock. Look at any move. This is going down, but any move up, there's always stochastic there. Stochastic. This one is really nice because this move up right here did not get stochastic over 60, so it was a fake move. Oh, it's going up. No stochastic, it's not going up. Oh, it's going up. No, it's not going up. There's no stochastic. Here. This one. Okay, yeah, it gave us stochastic. It turned around. Okay. Here, stochastic had a move. It might not be a super longer move, but just looking at stochastic, we don't look just at stochastic. We look at a bunch of stuff, downward resistance and stuff. But if you only look at stochastic, it's providing some value. Stochastic was mainly above 60 right here. It did this. This is, this is up. And this was while the overall stock was going down. So imagine if you take a bullish trend, Here, stochastic, boom, boom. Another one, another move. This one, well, yeah, this one was just very small. This one, you catch my drift? This one, oh, now you're talking. This one, yeah, a little bit. So you see, we are. So you could just use this and say, well, okay, I'm gonna get in when we cross hot, when we break stochastic over 60, I'm gonna get in. And then you need to find a way out. A way out, you need to find something a little bit cleaner than just getting lower than stochastic, because sometimes you just lose all of this. You have a loss of opportunity. So you need to find something else to find the peak. Anyway. But this is just to show you. This is my introduction. I'm still in my introduction for the new people, and for the regular people that are on this channel, it's always good to remember the basics. The basics are always there, and sometimes we forget them. So right now, this is where we are at. So what number should we care about for Tesla price? Put it in the comment. This is a test to see if you were listening. What is the number? I'm going to announce the proud listener. There's a delay, so I need to wait on my end for you to get my sentence, because this is not live. There's a little bit of a gap. So nobody knows what is the number that we need to look at for Tesla to see if we have a move up. I need to revise my teaching skills. I'm going to continue, and maybe somebody is going to put it there. So anyway, yeah, thank you. Tesla Theta is always there. Selling is covered calls. Bon, thank you, Cam. Thank you, Tesla Theta. I feel less alone right now. 175. 175. Close. So, yeah. So, okay. Okay, but I said it. I said 194.36, but okay, I'm gonna drop it. So yeah, so Tesla, this is what we need to look at, and this is what you need to be ready for. 194.36. If we go on the weekly chart, this is what we do on this channel. If we go on the weekly chart, we don't have stochastic over 60. So this is the weekly chart. So the weekly chart is not ready for a big move for Tesla. So if the weekly chart is not as bullish as the daily chart, this means that our daily moves, our buy signals on the daily move might not last a long time. It's just waves within waves. So this is what we do on Sunday. We are looking at all of our stocks and indices, and we are looking at if the weekly chart is green or not. So this one is not yet. So if we get a move in Tesla, be prepared that this move is going to be lasting for days and not weeks. And when it is going to be lasting for weeks, the weekly chart is going to be bullish. I'm having some ants in my house. Every spring there's ants around here. And yeah, I need to find where they come in and spray the heck out of them. Okay, so so I'm going to look at the weekly chart for all of the instruments that we are looking at to look at. Yes, this is my guess too. This is my guess too. But we don't know. But nobody knows. But this is my guess. But I won't wait until June 13th. I will look at the stock price every single day. And if I see the stock price cut this or break 184, then with a good stochastic and everything, then I will decide if I get in anyway. And yeah, let's talk about this. So if next Tuesday we have some candles, next week, if next week we have some candles that are coming as high as this with stochastic over 60, then I might still buy. Because who am I to know that this won't last? It met the criteria that I had. And yeah, there's a change in the tug of war between the buyers and sellers. And voila, I might just buy. But on the eve of June 13th, then depending on what is being revealed, then I might be, I was agreeing with Cam. So on the eve, so on June 12th, I might want to secure my position because who knows what is going to happen. And I tend to do that anyway. I tend to do that because Tesla stock goes, it's so volatile that I prefer to keep the money I have than to risk it too much. So yeah, this is, where am I looking at? Yeah, we had some earnings call. I think this is here. Yeah. So we had some earnings call right here. Positive, 14% surprise, positive surprise, 2%, 3% positive surprise, blah blah blah. This was last year, June 19th. So we had a decent run up, and the night before we didn't know what was going to happen, and the night before the stock closed very close to this downward resistance, very close to this downward resistance, the night before the earnings call, or the night of the day of the earnings call. The earnings call happened at 5:30 or so. So personally, what I did there, and I'm very happy I did that, I sold my position. So I had 500 shares at least. So I sold that. I sold everything and kept
kept all my money, and I bought 5 calls. 5 calls at the money, good for the rest of the week. So they were pretty cheap, but relatively cheap. And this was my insurance. So my 5 calls. If the stock would have shot up like crazy, then I would have exercised my calls and bought 500 shares at the price I sold them. So yes, there was a so the premiums of those calls would have been, well, was the cost for me to hedge myself. So basically, what happened is that the stock came down abruptly and continued down. So I lost my 5 calls, but I lost $5,000, and I saved. What was it? This is almost $300 times 500, so 150K. So I lost 5,000 bucks, but I kept my 150K. So these are the kinds of things that we can do. We can also not sell our shares and buy some puts, so that if it goes down, then we lose money on our shares, we make money on our puts, and maybe this is going to equalize somehow. So the same thing is going to happen. So if we start going higher next week and we decide that we want to buy, it could be going something like this. If we decide that we want to buy, then on that day, on June 16th, is that June 16th? No, it's Thursday. So it's around here. So we might decide to protect what we have if we have something. Or the easiest, or yeah, let's talk about this. So I think you like this. So what other strategies that we could use? Yeah, thank you for this. So if we don't go higher than 194 before June 13th, then I will not have bought, most likely, because sometimes I go on the 1 hour chart and buy short term and things like that. But if we talk about the daily chart, then yeah, if the stock does not go higher and then we let June 13th happen, then we are going to see on June 14th what is going to happen. Are we going to gap up, which is possible, or are we going to gap down? Because Tesla likes to gap. It likes to gap. I would prefer that Tesla not like to gap that much, because when it gaps, if it gaps too much, it's a little bit too late, because it might be coming down just because of the day traders that want to profit from a small short, and they might be pushing the price down. So I would prefer is Tesla would not gap much, but it does. So if it gaps, then we can decide to get in or not, or sometimes what I have done in the past, if there's a super terrific news, and we never know, and we don't know in advance. If there's a super terrific news and we have not gone above 194.35 on the next day, before, we can buy a few calls. We could buy a few calls right here. So I won't buy 500 shares of Tesla. I will buy 5 calls, maybe at $5,000 for all of them. And then if Tesla goes down, I lost $5,000. Oh, but it's better than losing on 150K. Or or uh, or if Tesla goes up, then I'm gonna be so happy, because if it gaps up right here and continues, then I'm just going to exercise my calls with the strike price at 187, and I'm going to be so happy to buy 500 shares at 187 when the current price is at 220, blah 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 blah, and climbing. So these are things that we can do. We can also buy, I've done everything, and sometimes it works, sometimes things don't work. What I also have done is that I have bought some out of the money calls a little bit, so they are cheaper. But if it goes up, so I don't profit from this price to this price, but I profit from that price to higher prices, so I can exercise here. So yeah. So these are all different ways that we can trade or invest. Yeah, bait traps. Yeah. Isn't it better to sell calls when it is in the money versus exercising it? 13th. Is it better to sell calls? I don't really sell calls when it is in the money. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an expert at options. I buy calls. Buy puts. Sometimes I sell covered calls, but I don't like that too much. So I don't know about that. Is it possible to reach 220 after great news? It's possible to reach. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like right here, I'm gonna say this example again. I was very happy here on Friday, but this was just luck. So on Friday before the earnings, uh, you know, I had this resistance line that was drawn. I'm gonna make it boom. So the stock price was approximately at 292, and the earnings were coming soon. And I don't know why, but there was some chance that the earnings were going to be good. So I bought some out of the money calls right here at 1200 at the time, because it was before the split. So yeah, so this cost me $1,000, I think. $1,000 to get seven calls. Seven calls, I think. So they were pretty cheap because they were out of the money and everything. And Tesla went from $800 to $1,200, and it basically hit the strike price of my calls. Imagine that. So the stock price increased by 50% in 2 weeks. Imagine that. Nobody could have imagined that. So this is the same thing here. This is the same thing here. What is going to be announced? Are people going to go crazy and push the stock super high and super fast? And nobody knows. I sure don't. I sure don't. I sure don't. Okay, so let's go. So we've talked about Tesla a whole lot. Let's go through our weekly chart for the VIX and everything. So weekly chart means longer term moves than a daily chart. So if VIX is still not bullish on the weekly chart, this should be good for weeks. So the stock market should not be going down for weeks. It should be continuing the way it is. In terms of the bonds, Bonds, they are climbing higher. We have stochastic over 60, so they are bullish. And US dollar just lost stochastic over 60, so temporarily this should be going down. If we take a look at Dow Jones, so I am just going to whiz through them. So Dow Jones, we don't have stochastic. We are into a congestion zone. We have a nice bounce, so I'm going to consider that we are at a standstill for Dow Jones. So this is the weekly pattern. We have a weekly standstill pattern. For S&P 500, we have a great stochastic. We are outside of the congestion zone, so weekly wise, we should be going higher for weeks to come. Nasdaq, same thing, higher for weeks to come. Apple, we tried to go higher. We still have a good stochastic, but we could not hold 180. So the trend for the next weeks for Apple is sideways. Sideways, it could go as low as 167. But this is what I call a sideways move, the sideways pattern. AMD, no stochastic. This one is not looking good for weekly patterns too much. Yes, it is into a bullish channel, so it should go higher, but we are at the resistance side, so there is a strong possibility that we go like this. So bearish. ARM, this one was coming down, now it's going up. There's no stochastic yet. I will call it a sideways move for the next weeks. It could go up as high as 150, but even if it goes like this, it's still technically going sideways. It's recuperating a little bit, but it's still a sideways move overall. We can still make money here. We can still make money on the daily chart. We can still make money and take that swing, but weekly wise, this is just this is not bullish yet. So I want to make that clear. Google, bullish, maybe a few weeks of weakenings, but overall this is bullish. Microsoft, this is sideways. Meta, this is sideways. Nvidia, this is bullish. You know, it was going sideways, broke it. We have stochastic, so this one is, so that makes one. Palantir, this is just a sideways move. It's not bullish. Supermicro, the same. SoFi, the same. It's just maintaining itself above 631. In terms of BYD, the EV stocks, this is still a sideways move. Lucid, I'm gonna still call it a sideways move. There's no stochastic. It's not going anywhere soon. Neo Battery Material, no bullishness there. Neo, no. Novonix, no. Xpeng, no. You see how fast it is? Nope. So this one would need to break 231 with a good stochastic, which is far from there. Bitcoin, what's happening with Bitcoin? We are stuck sideways. Bitcoin. We still have a good stochastic, so we could be going sure. So Bitcoin, you know, we need to break 71,800. Ripple going sideways, so we don't have a lot of big impulses. Gold, yes, you know, we have stochastic. We were close to that resistance, so we could be going nothing for the next few weeks until we start reaching on this other side. So not a super big move. Uh, silver is going like crazy. Look at how steep this is. We have stochastic, and we just broke recently 1023 right here. Boom. And now we're sitting on it. So this one looks, I cannot really say it because I'd like to have one more candle because we we have not broken 1023 yet. So we'll see. So yeah, so there are not many stocks that are bullish in their weekly pattern. So so this should tell us that for all of the other stocks except Nvidia, we need to, if we catch a move on the daily chart and then it reverses, we should take our money because most likely it is not going to continue. And for Tesla, Theta, and others, let's look at the covered calls. Covered calls, very aggressive covered calls above 194.35. Very aggressive right here because we don't know what is going to happen June 13th. But for the next week, you should be okay. You should be okay. And then if you want to be a little bit more safe, 217, but then we have June that is going to happen. We have July that is going to happen in terms of the earnings, and then we have the August news also. So so these things could be so dramatic that I would be afraid a little bit. So 194, very aggressive. Well, yeah. Well, for the next week, 194.35. After that, we have, you see here, we have some support. So above 217.65. And this is still within the big downward channel. And safer than that is above 234. 237.34. So that is it for today. So thank you guys for doing this one with me. I always like to have comments and stuff like that so that we can interact and that I don't feel like I'm talking to a mirror. So I really appreciate it. If you want to become a member, so I do a Sunday weekly live every Sunday. So you can go and join my channel. It's not much. It's not very expensive. I think it's $15 a month. And there's one of these lives like today that are that is free. So once a month it's open like this, but the three others are just for my members. So thank you guys. The weather is great here in Quebec this afternoon. So I wish you a great rest of the weekend. And next week is going to be so interesting. Well, next week and the week after, I'm going to say. So from June 13th, this is going to be interesting. And maybe people are going to be excited next week. Maybe some things are going to be leaked. Elon has leaked a video. And if you look at the video leaks on some frames, you see some robotaxi app. So maybe we are going to get one huge news. And let me leave you with this. I think it's interesting. So stock goes from the support side to the resistance side when they are, when we are into a channel, whether it's bearish or descending, sorry, it's bearish or bullish, it goes from one side to the other in zigzag. So if I go and I should make a t-shirt out of that. I should do like solve the money problem and make t-shirts. So if I go on the monthly chart where each candle equals a month, this is Tesla stock. So in 2020, we were at the bottom right here, went up to $400 there. And now we are back almost here. And we have a downward channel, as I said. It's the same downward channel that we've talked about. So, at some point, I don't know when, at some point, let me do this. At some point, sorry. But at some point, after having gone down like this, when we are going to get outside of this, then the next logical thing is to go to the other side. You know, zigzag. Zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. So it's not impossible. It does not mean that it's going to happen in 2024. Could be in 2026, in 2027. But the chart, okay, I'm going to say this, but I am only saying this because I'm amongst friends. But the chart is allowing, as a pattern, as a broad pattern, Tesla stock to go 560, depending on how fast it goes there, 700. So this is the upper limit that we have right here. So Tesla stock might be breaking its all-time high eventually, maybe 2027, 2026, and so on. So wouldn't that be great? But in the meantime, we can still try to make money on some smaller moves. So thank you. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'm going to tell you à la prochaine.